Greetings, fellow ukuleleans. Jeff Weinberger coming at you here with a new tutorial. Today I'd like to talk about practicing the ukulele from a finger-picking standpoint, or fingerstyle ukulele, as some people prefer to call it. That was a little excerpt there of an etude of mine. It's the first etude from my first book, and I have a collection of 10 etudes, volume 1. I just came out with a second book I may have already told you about, volume 2, which I'm very proud of. It came out really nice. First book is real good too. I'm going to revise it though. There's some little things I'm going to go back and change about, so be on the lookout for that. Be on the lookout for volume 1 being totally revised to match the standards of volume 2. But that was the first etude, and it's a fairly easy one. I played it kind of fast, but if you took it really slow, it's a beginner level etude. It's definitely easy. It's just got some easy chords in it, C's and C7s and that sort of thing. Nothing fancy. But what we're going to talk about as far as practicing fingerstyle ukulele or finger picking are the different patterns. This is going to be a multi-part thing. There are so many things to talk about, but let's start with just the raw patterns themselves. So when we assign our right hand fingers letters, we call them P, I, M, and A. Thumb, index, middle, ring. If ever you do use your pinky, you call it C or sometimes X. But we're going to mostly deal with P, I, M, A. And that's essential knowledge. Everybody that plays ukulele should know that this is P, I, M, A. And then from there, we just assign each of those four fingers to a string. In general, this isn't always, but in general, like on this etude that I played, the thumb gets the G string. The first finger, the index finger, I, gets the C string. Middle finger gets the E string, and the ring finger gets the A string. P-I-M-A, strings 4, 3, 2, 1, or G-C-E-A. So, doing that, I have the very first pattern that I teach people, the most simple pattern, the one that my first etude was based on, the straight down pattern I call it, because you're just picking straight down the strings. If I used a C6 chord, an open chord with no fretted notes, no left hand at all, just right hand, we use our thumb on the G, we use our index on the C, we use our middle on the E, and we use our ring on the A, all in a row, straight down the ukulele. Done. Easy. No brainer. It does not take virtuosic chops to do that. You just go. And this is the most essential pattern for all of finger picking. There's lots of others. We're going to cover tons of them. But that's the first one. That's the very first one you need to know. It's the straight down pattern. So let's practice that a little bit. Let's get used to that on our open strings, a C6 or A minor 7 chord. And just a quick tip before we begin. I want to make sure that you're using good technique. So we're not really touching the instrument with our right hand very much. It's only our fingertips that are touching the strings, but we're not resting our hand on the face of the ukulele. You can maybe, if you want to, anchor your thumb. I prefer not to. Not for this kind of finger picking anyway. You want to kind of just have your fingertips touching the strings, and don't use your hand touching the ukulele very much. Another very important thing is we're not going to be bouncing. We don't pluck a string and then come away from the instrument like this. No bouncing. That's really bad technique. It's way too much work too. You're just wasting so much energy. It's really just our fingers that are moving, and we're moving them mostly toward our hand. And so when your thumb plucks, it's going in toward the inside of your palm. It's not coming out and away from the instrument. It's going into your palm. Same with your pointer finger, your first finger. When you pluck up, you're not plucking up and away from the instrument. You're not plucking up toward your chin. You're plucking in toward your palm. So it's almost like you're returning to a fist shape. That's how I think of it. Your fingers are going in toward the palm of your hand like that. That's super important, and a lot of people don't think about that or do it that way. So we're not really using much of our arm, but you are using a little bit of your forearm. There are some muscles and tendons in there that are at play, that are controlling your fingers. So it should be a bit of forearm going in there, but there's definitely no elbow like you would use in strumming. And you're not really bending your wrist at all. Your wrist should be relaxed, straight. Your wrist is hardly doing anything. it's all about the fingers. And we're not really curling our fingers. We're not clawing like that. We're not trying on purpose to bend the knuckles. We just make a very small motion, but in toward the palm. And then in general, you want your finger to rest. And by your finger resting, it's relaxing and going back to its original position, away from the palm. So that's a really good exercise, is to go pluck, relax, pluck, relax, pluck, relax, pluck, relax. And at first that's going to be very premeditated and you're going to have to think about it. But after a while that will become automatic. So you don't pluck and leave your finger up in your palm like that, because then it has to come all the way back to restrike the string. You want to make that all one motion, the pluck and the relax, the pluck and the relax. It'll become natural after a while, but it does take a lot of practice. So now that you know kind of the correct way to finger pick and how to hold your hand and all of that and the proper way to do this, let's play a little bit on our open C6 chord. So we're just going to go thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring, thumb, index, middle, ring. If you got fingernails, use them. I have a little bit of fingernail going on here. If you don't have fingernails, use the skin, only the skin of your fingertip. That'll give you a warmer sound. The fingernail will give you a brighter, pluckier, louder sound. Brilliant kind of sound like that. I've got quite a bit of thumbnail there from this in classical guitar, and so I'm able to really dig in like that. Whereas if I use only the skin of my thumb, mellower sound. It's up to you. You know, find out the balance between skin and nail that is the right tone for you, or the right tone for the piece of music you're playing.